Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are all doing super well. Today we're going to be talking about what happened to 15-year-old Sierra LaMar. In March of 2012, Sierra woke up and got ready for school. Then she headed to the bus stop and was never seen again. Now this case is kind of solved, kind of unsolved. We do have someone that's being punished for Sierra's abduction, but we still have no idea where Sierra is. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Before we get into the video, I just want to quickly thank our sponsor, Babbel. So as you guys know, I've been wanting to learn a new language for a while now because I'm visiting my dad in Germany in just a few weeks, and I did not want to arrive to Germany clueless. I wanted to arrive to Germany and at least be able to order myself some coffee without feeling clueless, without getting my translator app out. You know, I wanted to go there and actually talk to people, and Babbel has really been helping me get to that point. I've been using Babbel for the past few months to help me learn the basics of German, and I'm starting to feel so much more confident about my trip to Germany. I really like the way Babbel teaches you how to learn the language. It doesn't just teach you random words like the color red, how to say hello, how to say your name, you know, basic things. It teaches you how to have a conversation that actually flows. The lessons are also super easy to do, and the majority of them are interactive, which I think is amazing. So for some of the lessons, you actually have to type out the word, you have to say it back. You're listening to how it's pronounced, which I feel like helps me learn a language faster because I'm actually writing it out. There's also so many ways you can learn. You can do lessons, listen to podcasts, play games, or watch videos. There's even live sessions you can attend with top teachers. They also have a 20-day money-back guarantee, so if you're not really vibing with Babbel, don't worry, you can get your money back. Ever since I've started using Babbel, I just feel way smarter and I feel so much more confident going to Germany in a couple of weeks. So if you guys have been wanting to learn a new language or brush up on a language you already know, you guys can get 65% off your subscription by clicking the link in the description down below. Thank you again to Babbel for sponsoring today's video. Alright you guys, that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you again for watching today's video and supporting this channel. Alright, let's jump right into today's video. So Sierra LaMar was a 15-year-old teenager from Fremont, California. She was born on October 18, 1996 to her mother Marlene and father Steve. She has an older sister named Danielle who she was very close to. Sierra is described as having a goofy sense of humor, playful personality, and always trying to make people laugh. She was a cheerleader in high school and had a very big social life. As Sierra was growing up, her parents decided they wanted to get a divorce, and this was really difficult on Sierra. Besides dealing with her parents' divorce, she also had to deal with packing up her things, leaving her friends behind, and moving to Morgan Hill, California. She moved there with her mom and her mom's boyfriend because her mom wanted a fresh start after the divorce. However, Sierra was not happy about this whatsoever. She really loved her life in Fremont and didn't want to have to start fresh somewhere else, make new friends, go to a new school. I mean, as a teenager, that's a lot to handle. It was just too much change too quickly, so Sierra was not having a good time in Morgan Hill, and she really wanted to go back to Fremont and back to her old life. So fast forward to March 16, 2012. Sierra woke up at around 6 o'clock in the morning and began getting ready to attend school at Sobrato High School. She would normally leave her house at around 7:15 in the morning to make it to the bus stop at around 7:25 when the bus would come by. This bus stop was only a few blocks away from her house, so it wasn't too far. Now Sierra lived in a very rural area, so there wasn't a lot around her. Her house was pretty much surrounded by empty land, fields, just like random sheds. So the bus stop that Sierra would wait at was unofficial. It was just an unmarked spot that only Sierra would be picked up at. So that morning, Sierra's getting ready for school and she ends up getting a text message from her friend asking her if she can bring her makeup before class so she can do it in the bathroom. Sierra says, yes, that's fine, let's meet up before class, and then continues to get ready. Then at around 7 o'clock in the morning, Sierra posts this quick selfie on Facebook, says goodbye to her mother Marlene, and then walks to the bus stop. Throughout the day, Sierra's mom was texting her, reminding her to clean the bathtub, and telling her to take the bus home from school. Now Sierra did not reply to any of her text messages, and Marlene didn't think this was too weird. She just assumed that Sierra was busy at school and would reply to her later. So later that afternoon, Marlene got off work at around 3:45 p.m. and called Sierra just to check in. Again, Sierra was not responding to any of her phone calls or her text messages. This is when Marlene started to get a little worried. I mean, Sierra was always glued to her phone. So while she was in class, she obviously wasn't going to reply, but if she was already home, out of school, she definitely would reply to her mom. She was getting worried, but thought, okay, maybe she's just napping, maybe she's just chilling at the house and doesn't want to talk to me. So Marlene drove back home and walked inside to look for Sierra. However, when Marlene arrived home, Sierra was not there. Now Marlene was really panicking, so she got back inside her car and drove to the school to search for Sierra. When she got there, that's when the school told her that Sierra had never shown up for class. I mean, I have no idea why the school would not call her earlier. Marlene says that if the school had called her earlier in the day, she would have left work and immediately began searching for Sierra sooner. So when Marlene hears that Sierra was a no-show, she begins calling Sierra's friends, their parents, she calls her ex-husband Steve. She's pretty much calling anybody that might know where Sierra is. However, no one had seen her the entire day. That's when Marlene decided to call 911 and report Sierra as missing. The Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office immediately took on the case and began searching for Sierra. At first, they kind of thought that it might be a runaway situation, so they began asking Marlene the typical questions of, were you guys fighting this morning? How has Sierra's attitude been lately? Would she ever run away from home? And her mom was like, no, I mean, we've been fighting, but I know she would never run away and not let anybody know. This was just not Sierra's character. So the police begin searching the area to see if they can find any trace of Sierra. The family also does some searching, and they actually had a lot of support from the community. Over 750 people from the Bay Area showed up to help search for Sierra. They were searching around her house, the bus stop, her school, pretty much everywhere. However, no one could find any trace of Sierra. The police decided to check the school bus security camera to see if maybe it captured Sierra getting on the bus. So they're sitting there, they're looking at this footage, and Sierra never gets on the bus. That means that somewhere between 7:15 when Sierra left her house and 7:25 a.m. when the bus arrived, something happened to Sierra. So police were literally working with a 15-minute window. Now they're thinking that maybe someone has been watching Sierra for a while now, and they know that she's the only person that ever waits at this bus stop. I mean, anything could have happened in those 15 minutes. So police decide to check the bus footage from a couple of days earlier just to see if anybody or anything stands out. Maybe in the background of this footage they can see someone waiting for Sierra. However, they find nothing. All they see is that every single day Sierra waits at the bus stop by herself, gets on by herself, and then in the afternoon gets off by herself, and that's it. So the following day, on March 17, search and rescue units find Sierra's cell phone a few blocks east of where the bus stop is. Police check her cell phone to see if they can find any text messages or anything to kind of lead them back to Sierra, but they don't find anything. Then, 2 days after Sierra's disappearance on March 18th, another search and rescue crew begins searching this area that had some abandoned buildings. They were kind of like shed buildings, just like very dirty and run down. They end up finding Sierra's black Juicy Couture bag wedged between the shed and some cactus. Inside the bag, they find a folded t-shirt, jeans, a sweatshirt, lunch money, some school notebooks, and her shoes. Police know that this is the clothes that Sierra was wearing the day she disappeared because she posted this quick photo on social media. They also found some dirt, debris, and some mud on Sierra's clothing, which indicated to police that she was possibly dragged. I mean, this really made police worry that something more sinister might have happened to Sierra. So they take all of these items into evidence and begin investigating them to see if they can find any DNA on them. They did find some DNA on these items that did not belong to Sierra. This DNA belonged to then 21-year-old Antolin Garcia Torres. The reason his DNA was in the system was due to a prior arrest for a 2009 felony assault charge for which he was never prosecuted. So who is Antolin Garcia Torres? Well, he's an amateur arborist from San Martin, California. He lived about 7 miles away from Sierra's home in a trailer he shared with his mother, his wife, and their young daughter. So now that police have Antolin's DNA on Sierra's belongings, they decide to set up a 24-hour surveillance on him just to see if he's maybe holding Sierra captive and he can lead police to her location. They were literally watching him all day long. They were watching him run his errands, go to work, do typical things, but none of the actions he did ever led them to Sierra. Along with this 24-hour surveillance, police were able to obtain security footage from the trailer park where Antolin lived. This security footage showed him leaving his house at around 7 o'clock in the morning, 15 minutes before Sierra would have started walking to the bus stop. Then the next 6 hours are completely unaccounted for. He does not come back home until around noon that day. So where was he for 6 6 hours. Well, police eventually reach out to Antolin and they talk to him about Sierra's disappearance. They ask him about what he did the morning Sierra disappeared, and he says he went on a solo fishing trip. There's literally no witnesses or anybody that can confirm that Antolin was fishing that day, so it's pretty much just his word. Then the police tell Antolin that they found his DNA on Sierra's belongings. They ask him how his DNA would end up there, and he literally says the most ridiculous thing ever. Like, actually ridiculous, you guys. Like, I cannot believe these words came out of his mouth. It is just crazy. So he says that sometimes he gets inside his car and does this inappropriate thing, if you guys know what I mean. He then grabs a tissue or a napkin to help clean himself up. Then he throws that tissue outside of the window and drives away. So he says that maybe when he threw his tissue out the window, it somehow flew and landed on top of Sierra's belongings, and that's how his DNA ended up on them. So then police are like, okay, well, where is that tissue? Like, we would have found the tissue near her belongings. And then he's like, oh yeah, maybe the wind picked it up and just blew the tissue away. I mean, that's a pretty crazy defense, saying that your tissue that you threw out the window somehow landed on this teenager's bag that was wedged between a shed and a cactus and somehow got inside the bag and placed your DNA on top of her clothing. Anyways, police hear his little theory about how his DNA might have landed on Sierra's things, and they're kind of like, okay, let's move on. What else did you do that day? So he says after he went fishing, he ended up going to a bank to cash in a check. Police go to the bank to confirm his story, and it's actually true. There is security footage of Antolin at this bank, and he looks completely normal. He just walks into the bank, gets his money, and then walks out. It literally doesn't look as if he has just abducted and possibly killed someone. So everything seems normal in this footage until police notice something. They're looking at Antolin's clothes, and they notice that the bottom half of his jeans look a little weird. The bottom half looks darker than the rest of his jeans, and this makes police think that they were either wet, covered in mud, or dirty. Now, when police found Sierra's clothes, it appeared to have some mud and debris on them, so maybe it's the same mud and debris that's on Antolin's jeans. Now, witnesses say that the morning Sierra disappeared, they saw a red VW Jetta driving near Sierra's home. Well, it turns out that's the exact same car that Antolin drives. So police obtain a search warrant to check inside Antolin's car, and they find quite a bit of evidence. Inside his trunk, police found some of Sierra's hair wrapped around a rope. Then they found her DNA on the rear door handle and on the armrest. This is pretty damning evidence and indicates to police that at one point Sierra was inside Antolin's car. Even though he claims he does not know Sierra, he's never seen her in her life, he had nothing to do with her disappearance, he literally says he has no clue what's going on. So then, on May 21st, 2012, 2 months after Sierra was last seen, police arrested Antolin Garcia Torres at a Safeway store where he worked. He was charged with the kidnapping and murder of 15-year-old Sierra LaMar. He pleaded not guilty, and his trial didn't begin until January of 2017. Now, with no body, no crime scene, no weapon, nothing, it was going to be very hard for the prosecution to prove that Antolin had something to do with Sierra's disappearance. So his trial begins at the Santa Clara County Courthouse in San Jose, California, and his lawyers were trying to argue that Sierra was a runaway. They claim that Sierra had ran away from home because she was unhappy with her life in Morgan Hill and she was upset by her parents' divorce. The defense team said that they had a piece of evidence that could support this theory. A student had actually turned in one of Sierra's notebooks to the school principal, who then turned it in to police. Antolin's defense team got a hold of this notebook, and they said that inside the notebook there was a note written by Sierra. This note was written in Spanish, and it said, "I hate my life. I will be in San Francisco by March 16, 2012. Now, I think this note is a little bit weird. I just feel like it's weird to randomly write that in your Spanish notebook, and the prosecution also thought that this was false. They thought this was a cruel prank that someone at school had made. They actually had a handwriting analyst come look at the note, and they also said that this note was most likely not written by Sierra. I'm not sure who would do such a horrible thing to fake this type of note and play with the family's feelings like this. Either way, Antolin's defense attorney was trying to use this note to their benefit. So while the defense team is trying to make this runaway theory work, the prosecution revealed that in 2009, Antolin attempted to kidnap 3 separate females in the parking lots of 2 Safeway stores where he worked. No one had ever been held accountable for these kidnappings. However, Antolin's fingerprint was found on the battery of a taser that the attacker tried to use and accidentally dropped in one of the attacks. Now, he tried to defend himself by saying that when he worked at the Safeway store, he would pack those batteries, and that's how his fingerprint landed on the battery. So that defense didn't really make sense to the jury. So the prosecution ended up charging him with these attempted kidnappings, along with the abduction and murder of Sierra. The prosecution says that these abductions were kind of a practice round for Antolin to finally abduct Sierra. So then, on Tuesday, May 19th, 2017, the jury found Antolin Garcia Torres guilty on all 4 counts. They did try to seek the death penalty, but because there was no body, the jury decided to give him life in prison without the possibility of parole. He's also required to register as a sex offender after the prosecution argued that one of Antolin's main motivation to abduct Sierra was for sexual gratification. They came to this conclusion because the 3 females that he had tried to abduct, none of their stuff was stolen. Same situation with Sierra. Her bag was still found with her lunch money inside, her belongings, all her stuff. So in the prosecution's eyes, Antolin wasn't after Sierra's belongings, he was just after Sierra. Now, Sierra's father, mother, her uncle, and her aunt decided to address Antolin face-to-face from the witness stand. The first to speak was Sierra's mother. She said, "I find it incomprehensible to commit a heinous, violent crime. You caused great pain to our family and yours. You have robbed Sierra of what God had planned for her. You can choose to make a choice and repent and tell us where she is." She also said she still wakes up every single day thinking it's a dream, but then realizes that this is her reality. Next, Sierra's father spoke and he said, "You have daughters. How would you feel if somebody took one of them from you?" I mean, that is so true. He literally is a father and he did this to someone else's daughter. That is just absolutely horrific, and the fact that his daughter has to grow up one day and learn that her father did this is just really sad and disturbing. Now, the entire time that Sierra's family was addressing Antolin, he literally did not look at them whatsoever. He was just kind of looking around, looking at the table, looking at the ceiling. He was looking anywhere he could just to avoid eye contact. So besides Sierra's family testifying, Antolin's mother also went on the witness stand. She was talking about how the family had gone through a lot of poverty, abuse, and how this loss has torn her family apart. She was saying that this is not her son would never do something like this, and that he was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. And I know that can be so difficult. I know you love your son, and you just don't want to accept the fact that they did something so horrible, but I mean, the evidence is there. I just feel like it's really difficult to negate all that information, but I'm not a mother, so I don't know how a mother would feel in this situation. To this day, she continues to visit Antolin in jail, and she brings his 2 daughters with her to visit their father. She says she will always love her son and will always support him. Well, Antolin is going to be in prison for the rest of his life. Sierra's family says that this was the outcome that they had wanted.
Nothing will take away the pain and the sorrow that we experience every day, and we will continue to experience for the rest of our lives. But truly, we've been praying for the chapter to have this type of ending, justice, and believing in it, knowing that God is there for us every day, and Amen. We just believe in that, and just we're grateful to the jurors coming up with the right decision, and it gives us peace as a family knowing that this is not going to happen to another child, and that they can't get away with something like this. Thank you.
It's a bittersweet. Yeah, we don't have Sierra, and that's the bitter part. But justice is served here for us today, justice for Sierra, and so that gives us some form of relief, and it'll never take away our grief.
At first, the family did want the death penalty because they just didn't find it fair that Sierra was no longer breathing. She was no longer here, she was no longer alive, and Antolin gets to do all that. He gets to continue to breathe. He gets to continue to see his mom. So it was difficult for them to hear that the jury had come back without the death penalty, but they're just happy regardless that Antolin is behind bars and will be locked away forever. So for a while, Antolin wasn't doing any interviews or making any statements about what happened to Sierra. It wasn't until December of 2020 that Antolin finally spoke up. A San Francisco reporter named Amy Larson sent a letter to Antolin in prison asking him 4 questions. To her surprise, Antolin responded back. He only responded to one question, which was, "Do you still maintain your innocence?" He replied with, "Yes, Amy, I hold fast to my innocence. As to your other questions, some, if answered, may not sit well with others. I don't wish to start shit with others. I'm just going to do my time." And that's pretty much the only statement he has ever made about Sierra's disappearance. Well, to this day, Sierra's body has never been found. She would have turned 25 years old in October of 2021. It's just so sad. I cannot believe she disappeared when she was 15 years old, and now she would be 25 and she still has not been found. The family is just pleading to Antolin to do the right thing and let them know where Sierra is. They just want to be able to bring her back home, lay her to rest peacefully, and have somewhere where they can go visit her whenever they want. I really hope that Antolin does the right thing one day and lets Sierra's family know the truth. I mean, you're already behind bars for the rest of your life. You literally have 0 chance of parole, so I just don't understand why he just won't give the family peace of mind and let them know where their daughter is. She was only 15 years old, and the fact that she was just headed to school and something horrific happened to her is just so frightening and so heartbreaking. I'm sending all my love, thoughts, and prayers to Sierra's family. I really hope that one day you get answers, find Sierra, and can lay her to rest peacefully. So anyone with any information about Sierra is asked to call the Santa Clara County Sheriff or this anonymous tip line to leave the information. I will keep you guys posted on this case, and if there are any updates, I will leave it down below in the pinned comment section. I feel like I don't really hear about cases where someone is actually convicted for without a body. Some people think that Antolin might have been watching Sierra for a couple of days. He saw that she was pretty and that she was at this bus stop by herself every single day. So maybe that morning he decided he was finally going to abduct her. So yeah, you guys, I would love to know what you guys think about this case down below. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. And if you guys have any other cases you want me to cover in the future, make sure to leave it in the comment section down below. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys!